Hey guys, so who read the chapter on fluency?
I did.
Sorry, I haven't. I haven't had enough time.
Yeah, and I've been sick, so I haven't been able to either. So can you two fill us in?
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll get you up to speed. So the first major topic the chapter deals with is the surface constructs of literacy. After that, the chapter moves to the deep constructs of literacy, and finally finishes with a discussion of strategies and activities that support fluency development.
Wow.
The term surface constructs refers to parts of fluency that the student uses to process text. The three surface constructs are accuracy, automaticity, and prosody.
Let's explain those three concepts a little more. The first one, accuracy, refers to the CLD student's ability to accurately read a text. This depends on the student's understanding of how certain sounds are linked to specific letters, and also on their ability to identify whole words. The second skill, automaticity, refers to the student's ability to decode words automatically, without having to consciously think about it. This means that the student no longer has to think about individual letters and can concentrate on words and even groups of words. This is critical for CLJ students to become fluent and to be ready for the deep constructs of fluency, or else the student will spend so much energy and concentration decoding letters and words they won't understand the meaning of the text. Even if a CLD student can read and make the correct sounds, that doesn't mean they are actually understanding what they're reading.
I can explain the third component. The third part of the surface constructs of literacy is prosody. Prosody is the way humans can add emotional properties to speech. For example, if I wanted to, I could say a sentence in a happy, sad, or sarcastic way, all by changing certain qualities of my voice. Not only does prosody affect the feeling of being expressed verbally, but it can also change even the meaning of the words being spoken. It's these qualities that comprise prosody, and they are intonation, stress, tempo, and the rhythmic patterns of language. The complete list is over here on page 186.
Let's take a minute to focus on these qualities specifically. First of all, intonation is the rise and falling change in a person's voice that conveys a great deal of the sentence meaning. A rising pitch at the end of a sentence indicates it is a yes or no question, while a falling pitch indicates either a statement or a question that is asking about something other than a yes or no answer. Languages that use this quality are called tone languages. For CLD students that come from a non-tonal language, this quality can be confusing. They may forget to add the proper tone to a question and make it sound like a statement, or vice versa. Intonation can be used to achieve a sarcastic quality. We all know the statement, "Oh, well, that's just great." Usually means that something is actually not great at all. Even if the words were different, the tone of my voice would tell you the words were not meant literally. Imagine how strange this property of intonation might seem to a CLD student.
That's very interesting. Just thinking about the textbook's example sentence, "Isn't he smart?" I could say this sentence at least 3 different ways.
In English, all words that have multiple syllables have one syllable that is said a little more emphatically than the rest. That's what stress is. It's incredibly important because it can sometimes change a word's meaning. For a CLD student, these stress patterns, as they are termed, may be foreign to their native language. This can lead to struggles with comprehension and speaking. One of the big ways students can learn the stress patterns of English is by becoming familiar with the orthographic markers that indicate stress. A good example is an umlaut, which modifies some vowels and does not exist in English. A CLD student coming from a German background where the umlaut is common may easily make mistakes in their speaking because of this.
Actually, I think I can explain tempo. I've been looking here at the textbook and what it says about it. What it says is that for fluency to not be negatively impacted, students need to read at an appropriate rate, and that to be able to accomplish this, students need to phrase or group the text into meaningful groups. Doing this incorrectly is termed parsing. If a CLD student's native language has syntax that is very different from English, they may have problems with this.
Hey, and I can explain the last one. I read it just now. The rhythmic patterns of language refers to the system of pauses between words and stress that certain words receive, depending on whether they are content words that are essential to meaning or function words like is, and, of, the, and so on. For a CLD student to grasp this concept, it's very important that they be exposed to clear examples of stressed and unstressed words.
Hey, good job, guys. You nailed the last two perfectly. Moving on, the next section covers the deep constructs of literacy. In the deep constructs of literacy, comprehension is the key. In addition to key vocabulary practice, a student developing at the deep constructs level should be able to decode and comprehend at the same time. In order to facilitate that, students need to learn metacognition, which is the student's ability to think about their own thinking. By being able to do this, a CLD student can assess their own understanding of the text and focus on specific parts that might be problematic.
Right. Additionally, because the CLD student's ability to read quickly and accurately isn't the best way to measure their level of fluency, teachers need to be careful to not overuse standardized fluency assessments. It talks about that in depth on page 193.
The last section of the chapter deals with ways that fluency development can be supported, which are called interactive reading groups. It mentions three: the reader's theater, choral reading, and repeated reading. In reader's theater, students act out the story in a book, as if it were a play. This really helps them grasp the importance of phrasing, pausing, and expression. If there are some students that can't participate in reading, they can be assigned the job of analyzing the other students' performances.
Wow, that sounds like fun. What are the other two?
The other two are choral reading and repeated reading. In choral reading, students read aloud together, like what we're doing now. This really helps emphasize key vocabulary and language structures within the text. In repeated reading, the teacher places a less proficient reader with a more proficient reader to provide support while both students read appropriate text and chat about the story's content. The more proficient peers are paired with the less proficient peers to read together and discuss the premises of and helping each other in order to develop better literacy skills.
Let me see if I can recap everything. The chapter first describes the surface constructs of fluency and the typical challenges CLD students face with those, and then moves into the frequently overlooked deep constructs of fluency that deal with the students' actual understanding, and ends up with the interactive learning groups as a group of tools to assist the CLD students' fluency. I would say that's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, and that finishes up the chapter. Now let's just go knock out the group video. Oh wait,